Well, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Dave Strohmeyer with Saddle Up Shooting. Well, I did it again. Those of you that know me or watch my program know that I have a weakness for auctions. Well, I did it again. And I happened to get this rifle that's before you for less than half price of new. It is used, but the person I bought it from said it only had about 100 rounds through it, and looking down the barrel, that appears to be true. Even looking at the bolt head doesn't even seem to be used. So come back in a moment, folks. Let's go over this rifle completely. I think you'll be surprised. See you in a moment. I love newer technology, and what I have before you here is that newer technology. Those of you that use AR-15, AR-10 type rifles know that in some states they're restricted. So I've been looking for quite some time for a bolt action rifle that fits into an AR platform. Now what I mean by that is the upper separates from the lower, and you can use any type of configuration that you want, or if you have more lowers, you can swap those out for a semi-automatic upper. So what this is here is a Uintah Precision UPR-15. Now, these people in Utah made this rifle to be a little bit different than the newer bolt actions that you're seeing coming out on the market right now with Bear Creek Arsenal, for example, and others that use a traditional AR-15 gas-operated bolt assembly. Now, in the type of configuration that I have this in, which is a 6mm arc, both the 6.5 Grendel and the 6mm arc, in order to fit AR-15 type situation, because of the case size, they had to mill out some metal on the bolt head, which makes it weaker. Therefore, some of the reloading manuals suggest that you have a top of 52,000 PSI, and they even have a reloading manual for gas gun versus bolt gun. So 52,000 PSI, and instead of the 60,000 PSI that this rifle is capable, because it is a true bolt action. So if you look over here, I'll show you the difference. You can see the traditional AR-15 type of lug setup. You can see where it's milled out and thinner than, say, a 5.56 or that type of cartridge. And therefore, it has to use lower gas pressures. Well, this Uintah UPR-15 uses a traditional bolt, a regular 3-lug bolt system. So it is much stronger. Now, because of that, then the operation mechanism of this rifle is different than a true traditional bolt action. For example, the cocking action is not on the upward stroke like it is in most bolt actions. The cocking action is in operating the action itself. That cocks the trigger. Okay, so you can kind of see that it is a little bit different, and you need a little bit more force to drive it home into position. So the bolt action itself is smooth, but the beginning and the end parts of the action have some resistance. That resistance is good if you want to know that, in fact, the ammunition is in battery and locked. And the resistance going back if you want to know that your trigger is reset and ready to go for the next round. Alright, so I hope that kind of makes some sense. Now, Uintah Precision is pretty proud of their rifles, and they charge quite a bit compared to the newer bolt actions through Bear Creek Arsenal, etc., that are basically just modifying a traditional gas bolt, taking off the gas block, blocking up the hole, and you're just operating it like the old slide action. Alright, so they make all of their own parts, the barrel, the upper, everything is complete. So that you know a little bit about this rifle, put a brand new Uintah scope on here. I happen to be a real fan, if anybody watches my videos, of Uintah scopes, and here we are with a 56 millimeter, 34 millimeter tube, 4.5 to 27 power scope. It's going to be plenty good for a 6 millimeter arc. It has a 24-inch barrel. You can see there's no taper on the barrel, and I don't know what Uintah calls this barrel because it's not a bull barrel. It's just a straight profile barrel. I have a muzzle brake on the end. I have a Magpul Generation 3 stock on here. I own 4 of those now, and this is in the rifle length configuration. That thing is completely adjustable, up, down, and sideways, or any way that you want to go. I put a riser on here because of the 56 millimeter tube, so that it gives me more than enough clearance off of the upper assembly here where there's no contact. It has a 2-stage trigger aftermarket. I'll have to look that up, find out what kind it is, but it has a very short take up to hit a wall, and then it's set at about 2 pounds. It has an ARCA rail on it. Obviously the previous owner put a lot of extras into this rifle. And again, I couldn't turn down the price. I was low bidder and got it. Well, we're going to take it out now to the range so that you can see this rifle go to work, because pretty is as pretty does. So we're going to see what type of accuracy that I can get out of it. So far, the only downside that I have is that this upper is on a palmetto state lower, and there is a little bit of play between the upper and the lower. Now I know you can get wedge blocks, etc., but I have probably 6 or 7 different lowers, and I'm going to occasionally swap it out to find out which one is the tightest that there is. But you can see there's just a little bit of play in there. Alright, so let's get out to the range, let's get to shooting, and see how this rifle performs. Okay, I'm out here at the 100-yard line. Took me 5 shots to 0 at 25 yards. The first up will be a 103 grain ELD X's. It is my hand load, and it's supposed to be going 2,840 feet per second. And so let's go ahead and try those out. In this 24-inch, it may be going even faster, but I don't have the chronograph on right now. Okay, initial feelings about the operation of this rifle is the bolt. It's going to take the bolt cycling is going to take a while to get used to, both in racking around in and ejecting around out. Like I said, it's very stiff to chamber around, and it's very stiff to recock the hammer of your trigger mechanism on the way out. So you have to kind of be a little bit more forceful with this. Alright, so the camera's on down there, I think. Well, I better go double check. Okay, the camera is on. Those are just 3-inch little circles down there. That kind of helps me dial in a little bit better. Alright, so watch this action now, so you can see you really have to slide it home. Again, I'm just getting used to this, so I'll get a lot smoother over time. Alright, be the lower target on the left. Okay, now, there's no cocking action on the way up, okay? But you really have to, because you're recocking the hammer of the mechanism, you really got to jack it, okay? Then the same going forward for the next round. Right now I'm just kind of feeling if it picks up that next round. Feels like it. Okay, good. That wasn't too bad that time. Okay, ready? All right. Huh. Okay, sorry about that, but I am getting used to this. You know, user error, that's why you go practice when you get a new type of situation. But so far it's shooting really good. Okay, those first 3 shots look pretty doggone good. All right, now, again, no friction on the way up. Really jack it. Okay, so now let's try some 80 grains. I'll reset up down there. The 80 grains are going 3,044 feet per second. These are Sierras. So let's give these a try. Again, it might be just user error, not doing everything correctly, or just my own overcautiousness. I don't know. All right. It's not picking that up, is it? Should pick it up. All right, there we go. All right, so now the target just above the last one I shot. Again, folks, don't pay attention to my difficulty in cycling because this is a whole new type of situation to me. Muscle memory after a number of shots, getting used to the feel of this rifle, the action, everything will smooth out eventually. And I'm going to have more videos on this rifle. So let's see how the 80 grains shoot. Target just above the last one I shot. Hey, a little left. Injected right. All right, here we go for shot number 2 of the 80 grain Sierras. Let's see how it does. Hey, that's high. Again, jack it out. All right, so let's try single feeding. Again, you have last round lock back, so you hold the bolt release. And that did pick it up. So, okay, I'll single feed for the next few shots here. Hey, it doesn't appear to like those 80 grain Sierras, does it? Okay, didn't appear to like those 80 grain Sierras. Shot 3 shots and only saw 2 holes. So now I'm going to try the 90 grain ELDX. This is a hunting bullet, and this is traveling at a speed of 2910. Again, this is my hand load for my other 6mm arc. It's a semi-auto. So target just to the right of the last one I shot. Let's double check that, see if it picked up that round. Yes, it did. How about that? So it's actually bullet length, not the magazine. Appears. I might be so damn worried about the operation of this gun, I'm not paying attention to my shooting technique. I don't know. Yeah. Didn't like the 90s either. Now these 80 grain nozzlers. And they're traveling at 3056. So, whew, that's smoking. Alright, that felt like it went in. Alright, last target. Alright, appeared to like the 90 grain nozzlers. That's only a ½ inch group. Alright, let's get back to the barn, wrap this up, give you my overall feelings. But I'm not too disappointed. I just need to get used to the action, which is completely different than a traditional bolt action, completely different from a semi-automatic. That's the way that Uintah Precision built this. They built it as a modular system that you just need to go ahead and practice and get focused on the different types of situations. All right, let's summarize this target real quickly. 103 grain ELDX, 2,820 feet per second. That's a 1/4 inch group, not too bad right off the bat. Then I went to my 80 grain Sierras traveling at 3,044. I probably edited this out of the video because I have no idea where that third shot went. Then over here, the 90 grain ELDX traveling at 2,910 feet per second, and that's just right at an inch, so not too bad, scope adjustment. All right, then the 80 grain nozzlers, 3,056, that ended up being a pretty good little group there. That from there to there is a ½ inch, so it's a little over a ½ inch, so I'm pretty well pleased. Okay, in summary, I need to get used to this rifle. I need to get used to the bolt, the cocking action, the locking into the breech, and the magazine difficulties that I had that you saw, but I'll overcome that stuff, and then I'll start working up loads that are appropriate for this rifle, because these were developed for my other 6mm ARC, which is a semi-automatic that you've probably seen in past videos. Okay folks, well, if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment if you will. But no matter what, as always, God bless you all. See you again next time. Goodbye.